here. Liam, I've brought everyone up to speed. I've been speaking on behalf of what I think you might be saying. I've been reading out some of your quotes. You've been saying 25 babies are aborted each year between 24 and 40 weeks. So I think I represented your position reasonably well. But just if you will, tell us briefly, though, why are you so passionate about this? My panel don't think you're going to be able to get it across the line. What would you say about that?
Well, we'll see, because the reaction of most MPs was the same as Kelvin, which was, I didn't even know that this was the case. Many of them think that in an era where we've been passing legislation on disability and equality, that it's not tenable to maintain this differentiation in the law. And again, Kelvin's quite right. Given the level of diagnostics that we have, most parents will have made up their minds by the time they get to 24 weeks. So to have it extended on this case for these children up to 40 weeks, I think, is utterly unjustifiable in this day and age, and it needs to be rectified.
But what would you say the flip side of this, Liam, is that people will say, well, hold on, that's really well and good for an outside individual to have this view, but when it's the parent, it's going to be their responsibility to bring up that child for life. So shouldn't the actual final decision come down to that parent?
Well, yes, and that decision is. And what we are proposing is that the age limit should be the same in abortion for children with Down syndrome as with other children. Diagnostics are there. And this is an argument about disability rights, and it's an argument about equality, not really an argument about abortion, although I understand how emotive that is. But I think it's very hard on this World Down Syndrome Day to say to many of the people that I met today, many of the children and adults, that you should be treated differently from the rest of the population when it comes to the choice about whether you could be aborted up to hours before you could be born.
Yeah, it's a very, very sensitive topic. I think you do great work on this, I have to say. And I know people's opinions at home will be divided, so I'm looking forward to hearing what people have to say. And I know also, Liam, I've heard you say before, you're very keen to explicitly focus on Down syndrome in this kind of work. But do you know, is anyone more broadly focusing on the points that I was just raising earlier on about, some of these situations apply to things like cleft lip, cleft palate, clubfoot?
Yes, well, I mean, we have to ensure that we have equality, that we don't simply say to one group of people, you have less right to be born than anyone else. It's about making those judgments that we should have equality across our law. We've got a lot of legislation in place to ensure that. It's about just making sure that we don't say to people, Down syndrome, you're less worthy than other people. And the reason that I wanted to bring in the Down Syndrome Act was to give us conditions that would actually improve the quality of life of people with some of these conditions, that for the first time in our law, we would recognise that people with specific syndromes required specific help. And I think trying to ensure that we get a quality of life for people is absolutely key to a society where we maximise the benefit of our society by maximising the potential of everybody within it.
Indeed. Just very briefly, what's the next step for this then? We've just heard, of course, Rishi Sunak's response. What's next?
Well, it will be an amendment to the Criminal Justice Bill. It's not yet clear when the government's going to bring the Criminal Justice Bill back to the House of Commons, but it's at that point we will put an amendment down to law. At the moment, of course, there's a bigger abortion debate going on at the same time, away from this question of rights and disability, about the age limit itself. And so it's going to be an issue that is debated quite hotly in the House of Commons.
Indeed, we'll certainly follow it. But for now, thank you very much for your time. That's the Conservative MP there, Sir Liam Fox. Thank you.